Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is our second CMA Roundtable breakfast meeting, whatever you will. I've got my lovely cuppa here. I hope you've got yours organized as well. Now, what we're doing today is we are speaking with none other than Cris West, who is from one of our really esteemed CMA approved suppliers, Healthy Stuff. That's the name of their company. Cris will tell us about what the company does. But then the idea, the thrust of these meetings is that our brilliant entrepreneurs who've been contributing to the meetings have amazing lessons that they've learned along the way. They know what works, they know what doesn't work. And so as a consequence, the idea is that they can essentially share their wisdom, share their expertise. And so we like to call this How I Built It. And I have to say that has been that notion, that idea for this concept, if you like, has been shamelessly stolen by me from a fantastic podcast that you can actually get. It's actually called How I Built This. So I've just changed the wording slightly. And of course, it's nothing to do with our sector. But I do suggest you go, and if you're looking at interesting business building stories, go and check that wonderful podcast out. It's actually by, it's actually the USA's public broadcasting service, and it is absolutely fantastic. So there's no sort of endless promos or anything like that, much like this. But yeah, so do go and check that out. And also, I just want to say right at the very top is that one of the things that Cris has generously agreed to share with us is that he'll tell you what the company does. I'm not going to introduce them. He'll tell you what the company does, but he's also got some fantastic opportunities for us practitioners that I know I will be taking up for my practice. So Cris, if I can just introduce you, please take it away. Could you introduce yourself and introduce Healthy Stuff to us? Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you very much, Janie. Yeah, hello everyone. So my name is Cris and I am from a company called Healthy Stuff. I actually started working at the company when it very first started in 2008. And we basically now offer allergy and intolerance testing. This is a completely global company. So we are based in Castle Donington, which is just outside Derby, or East Midlands Airport, if you know it. I myself am in Nottingham today. And just a word of warning, my son is going to school in about 10 minutes. So if he pops in, I'll just say a quick goodbye to him and then I'll be straight back again. But yeah, so basically, as I said, it is allergy and intolerance testing that we offer, which if I'm going to go into the history of the company a little bit, if I'm being honest, when we very first started, it was actually a little side source of sort of secondary income to a main colonics business that we were doing in Ashby-de-la-Zouch. Now, however, as I said, it is a global company. We have got 20 staff, we have got 3 distribution hubs, and we've got 42 different websites, all offering similar allergy, intolerance, or sensitivity testing of hair and blood samples.
There we go, just unmute myself there. Cris, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, one of the things that impressed me so much, I think, when you guys joined the CMA was just looking at the quality of your offering. I think that why Healthy Stuff and the CMA are so compatible is because you guys are absolute sticklers for the research. And I think that is so important that our viewers know that you're not sort of offering, you know, over the years, I think as practitioners, we've all seen sort of different types of testing being offered, and, you know, it's a little bit unclear as to just sort of how valid those offerings actually are. So can you say a little bit about the massive amount of research and the resource that you put into the research that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of regulations out there, and we, as you said, sticklers is the best word for it. We have a fantastic team of people which help us to make sure we keep up with all of the accreditation. So we are in about 2 weeks' time, we're going for our second audit of our ISO 9001 that we work for. We also follow good lab practice, and obviously with the new IVDR regulations that we've got coming in as well, we make sure we have a team of people who work both from home and some in the lab as well, so that they're able to offer their full advice and make sure that we follow every single thing that we need to, so that we're offering the best possible service to our customers, as well as our partners as well. So much so that we actually had a compliment. We had a meeting last week with an IVDR expert, so all the new regulations that are coming in, and our lab manager was actually complimented in the meeting by the expert themselves, saying that we were the most trained company that they were speaking to at the moment. So that was I took that one as a bit of a pat on the back, definitely.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. That really is amazing, Cris. Well done, you guys. Actually, Cris, just as an aside, things like that you ought to send to us as press releases so that we can actually help sort of, spread the word, because that's an amazing achievement. And it really, it's really incredible. So well done. I mean, that really is superb. But Cris, can you tell me a little bit sort of, how, obviously you touched on the fact that you started off as a company with a different focus.
Yeah.
Why did you make the change? What drove the change? And maybe that's a good place to start. What actually drove that change in sort of repositioning yourself and reorientating?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, in 2008, we were a colonics business. So we were sort of offering that as the main source of income. And it was then decided that we would move into the full wellness package. So we were offering colonics, we were offering a juice cleanse as well. And then we were just sort of looking at additional add-ons, really. And actually, one of the things we invested in was the sensitivity hair testing. And that very, very quickly became the main source that the people were interested in. And as I said earlier, we've got a lot of websites, and that was where we first started off. We built a website solely for that purpose. People could send in their samples, and overnight we saw that was something of interest. So we've continually sort of pushed that and grown that way. And that would be one word of advice that I definitely give, would be: never look at yourself as a small area. If you can, where possible, look to market either to the whole of the country or even to other countries. Obviously, there's a lot of English-speaking countries out there as well, so you don't need to go down the translation side. But for us, we very quickly set up a few other websites pointed at different countries. We set up some postal services in those countries. And that was it. We were then able to say, okay, we now market in America, we now market in Australia, we now market around Europe, and it just continually growed like that. So yeah, it was really, really nice and easy for us sort of that way.
Yes, I think that's really crucial, actually, Cris. One of the things that I was really impressed by, and I thought was incredibly far-sighted of you, was that you were telling me when we spoke last about the fact that you've set up in various countries, because obviously during COVID, post was just, international post was just, it was out of the question. It was so slow. And if you've got people sending off samples, it just isn't going to work. So you guys had the foresight, didn't you, to actually set up hubs in various countries around the world?
Yeah, we're quite lucky that we set up hubs in every single country that we built a website for. We had a postal hub, and that basically is a post box which was collecting the samples that were sent back in to them. So everyone that was set up is either a free post or a much cheaper internal only post. That is then collated several times a week, and that was shipped to us. So it was already set up like that before COVID, which was worked really well. What COVID forced us to do was sort of the other way around. Was before, we had always done all of our distribution of our testing kits only from the UK. We very quickly realized that things were taking a lot longer to get where they needed to be. We weren't able to say, okay, yeah, this will get to America within a week. It was taking 4, 5, 6 weeks. So we then moved and set up our Australia distribution hub and our America distribution hub. And we've no plan to get rid of those now, because it just means we can offer next day delivery still. We can still offer full tracking on our test kits. But yeah, that really worked well for us. So it was kind of a two-way. We already had some of it done, but COVID pushed us to do even more.
That is so interesting, because talking about next day delivery, I think it's crucial in business, responsiveness. Because the thing is, the consumer, whether it's a client coming to see a complementary medical practitioner, or whether it's somebody buying goods and services, sort of as per your audience, if we make up our minds to do something, we sort of then want it there and then. We want it next day delivery is good, so I think that's really, really crucial. And I think that a lot of practitioners sort of fall down sometimes by not being available enough at the right times. Now, I know that can sound really iffy, and I'm not suggesting that people burn themselves out by working, and just being completely available 24/7, because of course that's not practical. You've still got to do your marketing, you've still got to do your promos and all the rest of it, your admin, etc. But finding times when people are actually going to be able to utilize your services, so being open on a Saturday, possibly even a Sunday, possibly in the evenings, that sort of thing. It's all about making your services available. And Cris, this is what you've done with this, setting up the hubs, isn't it? So that people can actually, once they've made a decision to purchase, the ball starts to roll. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're ordering from the UK, we do a similar service to a lot of in the UK. That if you order before 12 o'clock, it's same day dispatch. So chances are you are going to get it the next day. But then if not, then yeah, it is next day delivery. People have got used to this Amazon level of service, and actually it's only a couple more p per postage for us to do that for next day. If not next day, if we get orders for Highlands and Islands and things, it's usually the day after, but people kind of expect that level. But that's also, as you mentioned there about being available. One thing that we have is we have a 24/7 live chat. Now, we're really proud of our service and we worked really hard. And initially in the early days, we tried to keep this in-house. So of course we were employing people doing 8-hour shifts and an 8-hour shift and an 8-hour shift so that we could offer that. And in the end, we decided to outsource it to another company. And that would definitely be a recommendation of mine because it's extremely cheap. They have we do a training session with them once a month to make sure that they're up to date with all of the best thing. But it just means that we have a worldwide service where people can chat to them in any language. And that if they're missing a test, if there's an issue with something, if they're confused by something, there is always someone there to give an answer. And it's just a great level of service that we're very proud of.
That is fantastic, because there's nothing worse, is there, than sort of getting onto a chat and then realizing that you're speaking to a bot. That is really frustrating. Yeah.
So if you can offer next day delivery, if you can offer tracking on the kits, and if you can offer sort of a live chat service, then that ticks some of the big boxes for people when they're ordering something online, that they know they've got that information.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously that helps our members who are producing products and so on. But what I was wondering was, I wanted to find out from you if there have been any pitfalls or anything sort of along the way that you, with the benefit of hindsight, which of course is 2020, have you got anything that you can look back on and think, actually, lessons learned, I wish I'd done that differently?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got two things that I sort of highlighted to myself when we were going through as a real challenge. One was when we invested in our own laboratory. So previously we were renting spaces, but obviously there's all the issues and challenges that come with that. So we decided, okay, let's bite the bullet and invest in our own category 2 blood laboratory in the building, and so connected to the warehouse that we have. That obviously came with so many challenges of things that we've just never done that before. So we were getting specific teams in who were experts in that, but they were giving conflicting information for us to be able to follow good lab practice, for us to be able to follow the procedures we needed for category 2. We were lucky that we did this before COVID. So it meant that we were still able to move quite quickly with it. And now it's fantastic and we're very proud of it. And, as I said, it ticks all those boxes, but it was a real challenge to start with. It was just something that none of us had ever come across before. So that was one of ours, which we would say, make sure you do get the experts in for it, because they are there to give you the advice. But also you do have to use a bit of common sense with it every now and again. When you've got one expert saying one thing and one expert saying another thing, you do have to sort of put the two together and come up with a common ground. Yeah. And then our other is with the regulations that we have to go through. As I mentioned earlier, we're always working towards our ISO qualification. So that means we have to do a lot of internal auditing that we're just going through. I've just sent off some more documents this morning. So there's lots of things there, but also, as I said, IVDR, which is the way we have to mark our packaging for what's inside there. All of those things, those regulations are changing at the minute. So how we got around that one is we have the experts in-house. We have the team of people who are able to fully dive into it, go through the regulations, and then come out to people like me who luckily now don't have to go through those regulations and say, this is what we as a company need to do. So yeah, there's been some real challenges, but making sure you have the right people in the right areas really work for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think sort of so far the take home messages really are things like outsource if you possibly can. If there's somebody out there that does what you do, but they can do it more efficiently than you.
Yes.
That's certainly something that we've started to do here. Our fulfillment, our membership packs actually now come out from a fulfillment house, whereas we used to do, as Roberta will tell you, it was all done, from Roberta's office, from her admin office. And it's made a big difference. It really has. We've had teething problems. I mean, I will be absolutely honest with you, only because the company that we chose are actually themselves growing exponentially. It's not a word I often use, but in this case I will, because they are just, they're going great guns. And so along the way, we've had a few hiccups, but having said that, it's now really running very, very, very smoothly. So we're really pleased with that. And, so we've looked at, for example, the other thing that we outsource is design. So for example, for the new CMA brochure, we outsource that. We don't do anything like that in-house. So I think the thing is that we're in an amazing situation now worldwide, insofar as there are companies like Upwork or Fiverr and so on, where we can actually bring in expertise that we don't ourselves possess. So I think that's really interesting. But I think obviously with an organization of your scale, bringing those people on board, I think, as you've done, is probably where most people need to be looking to get to. Would you agree with that, Cris?
Definitely. I mean, we're lucky that we have outsourced and we have the people that some that work fully for the business, some that we just speak to on a regular basis, but also on the other side, we do use sites like Fiverr or People Per Hour or things like that for when we have small projects. One that we consistently do this for is Amazon. So Amazon is always asking us to jump through new hoops to make sure that the testing kits do this or testing kits. We need new images. We need all of this kind of stuff. Now I have a marketing team and they're great with the website side, but our graphics never quite look as good as they need to for Amazon. So you find someone on Fiverr who is able to, either ship a test kit to, or they're able to just improve the designs that you've got. But yeah, if it's something that you think this is definitely not for me or someone on my team, there is someone usually out there at a very affordable rate who can do it very fast for you.
Yes, absolutely. It's great because the thing is, they just, the overheads aren't there. So this is why it's such a good sort of economy of scale, isn't it, really? So Cris, one of the things that I wanted to chat about with you today is the white labeling that you do for practitioners.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, definitely. So we learned early on that people wanted to offer a similar service. So either the blood allergy and intolerance testing or the hair sensitivity testing, but obviously don't have the resources to invest in the equipment or the experts or the laboratory space or all those sorts of things. What we've set up is we have a full partners department who, again, is a global company, is a global side of the company, and they bring people in so that they can join and use our service, and either they can label it as our service or they can have it done so it's completely white label. So if they want to put their own branding on there, a lot of people will use our testing either just as a secondary source of income, or they will use it then to make further recommendations for their own products and services. So once they get those results through, quite a few of our partners will receive them through to their own email, and then they will then read through them and then have a session with the client themselves. So it's a very, very easy to set up service to add it onto your business. You just literally go onto our website, healthystuff.com, and there's a form to fill in there. We will then reach out to you and you can be signed up in a matter of days. So yeah, it's a nice speedy service, especially if it's something that complements the business that you do.
Yes, and I think that I think testing is so important for practitioners of all flavors, actually, of various disciplines, because the thing is, what testing does, to my mind as a practitioner, it gives me evidence, it gives me an evidence base so that I know where my client is coming from.
Sorry, Jane, I'm just going to go say goodbye. Just give me 1 second.
Yes, of course, absolutely, yeah. So I'll just say, so my perspective on testing, I'm a huge fan of it in my own practice. It gives me a platform from which to actually sort of make clinical decisions. It makes my clinical decision making a lot easier, because the thing is, it eliminates the guesswork. You know what you're dealing with, you know what's going on, from a physiological perspective with the client. So it just takes that sort of guesswork out of the way, out of the equation. So I think that's fantastic. So Cris, one quick question about the white labeling. Is it something that can practitioners actually brand the tests? So when the consumer, when the end user receives the test, is it badged up Healthy Stuff, or does it have the practitioner's details on it, or even logo, for example?
It's completely up to the client. So we have some that notice that we are quite a well-recognized brand, and they just want to add that in as a sort of a real stress-free part that they can go, yeah, I'll have that, and is with them in the next few days. They can start selling it. The results either go direct to the client or the person, and that's it. Or we can have it that it's completely labeled up for the business, and they don't even need to know that we're involved in it at all. We don't offer our live chat service. We don't offer our additional nutritional therapies. It is the results of the type of testing that partner chooses. So it's there as an option, but we have both. We really do. We have some quite well-known brands that are out there that offer allergen intolerance testing, are actually us, as well as some that just want to go, yeah, I'll just add this service onto the products and service that we already have.
That's really interesting, actually. Yes, wonderful stuff. Yes, I can see the benefits of both ways, and I suppose it has to be something that fits with the individual's business model, really, doesn't it? So yeah. So if it's going out under the Healthy Stuff banner, then the end user, so through the practitioner, the practitioner's ordered it or what have you, then the patient, the client, is supported by your chat and your 24/7 support. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, we have our 24/7 live chat support. We also have our laboratory team if there's questions regarding the results. And then on particular type of tests, we do have nutritional therapy offering as well. So yeah, there's a whole level and a whole range that people can go for.
Right. Okay, that's fantastic. One of the other things I've noticed about testing, when you get the results back, sometimes the results are clear as mud. You'll get a beautiful sheet back saying these are your client's results, and you'll be looking at them. And if it's something that you are not a specialist in, it can be very, very difficult to interpret those results. So what sort of support do you give practitioners for test result interpretation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're very, very proud of our results that we're always going through and speaking. So we send out a customer feedback, and we also do partners feedback. As it's coming to the end of the month, we're starting to get the results in now. So we always listen to what people say. If there is anything that is particularly unclear or something, so we're always looking to improve the results just to add some more clarification in there. However, as you said, sometimes it just still is a bit confusing, or there could be things that are a bit contradictory. We have the team here, so our customer service team are also nutritional therapist trained, so they're able to offer the understanding there. But we also make sure that our customer service team are trained to understand the results themselves, just so they know that if someone just says, I've got this result here, what does that mean? We get, if someone says that they shouldn't be eating chicken, for example, we obviously get the follow-up questions. Does that mean I shouldn't be eating chicken soup? Does that mean I shouldn't be eating chicken flavored crisps? There's always sorts of things like that go. So yeah, we offer that help and support either direct to the customer or to the partner.
Brilliant. Oh, that's fantastic. It really is. Cris, this is amazing. Is there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to share about your journey and about the company, or anything like that at all that you think might be useful for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So one is just a bit of a tip for myself, but also I do want to offer your members a little freebie as well at the end. So firstly, as my main job, my day-to-day job now is the marketing manager. What advice I would give to anyone starting out, or if you've been doing this quite some time, is content is king. You have to be putting stuff out there, whether it's regular blogs, whether it's news articles, whether it's videos, whether it's stuff on social media. If you can be putting stuff out there that regularly updates your website, Google will understand that you are a live business that is still has things happening for it, then it will start to rank you higher and higher and just mean that you'll do even better. Obviously, the similar side with social media, people will check the social media. Don't worry if you're not getting the likes and the shares and things like that. Sometimes people just go on there and go, oh, actually, they updated yesterday. I know they're still a real business. So yeah, make sure you're putting the stuff out there. And again, as we mentioned earlier, if it's something that you really can't write yourself about your own business, get the people in to do it or outsource it. There's plenty of people that you can say, this is the kind of thing that I would like to be written. Can you put that something together for me? They can make sure it's all SEO friendly. They can make sure that it's all picked up with all the keywords on there. So yeah, make sure that there's regular stuff that's going out there.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, we'd also like to offer any of the members, if they do want to trial our white label service. Obviously, there is a small charge for the individual test. However, we would like to waiver that small charge for anyone who wants to give it a try. So if they themselves want to have a free test, or they would like to use one just to set up and see whether it's something that can work for them, either reach out to myself or just sign up at healthystuff.com and mention that you've seen it through the CMA, and we'll be able to do that for completely free.
Cris, that is amazing. That is so generous. Thank you very, very much, from me, but also, on behalf of the team and all of our members, because that is absolutely wonderful. I think it's very exciting, and I certainly, for one, will be reaching out for you, to take advantage of that. As I say, I'm very much considering in my own practice, actually, sort of bringing testing on board in a much more concerted way through yourselves. So yeah, I shall definitely be doing that. Okay, Cris, is there anything else at the moment that you can think of, or for those of us watching, does anybody have any questions for Cris today at all? And it's fine if you don't, or if you're shy, you can type in the chat box. But before we let Cris get on with his very, very, very busy day, I think we should just take advantage of picking his brains while we've got him here. So any questions at all?
Cris, my name is Leila. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're very faint, Leila, but yes.
Yeah, sorry, I've taken off my the camera because I know that the bandwidth is very low here at the moment. Yeah, Cris, I'm a registered mental health nurse, so I'm really interested in the testing. As Janie was saying, in order to get a baseline results for our clients. I'm also a registered batch flower practitioner as well. And I just wanted to know, so you've told us a little bit how you started your business in terms of that you started with colonics. What did you do before then? Could you give us a little bit more about your background and why you sort of went into colonics and it's led you to where you are now? I'm always really interested in hearing other people's journeys and their stories.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a varied journey, actually. So I went to university. I went to Leeds University. So I was living in Ashby, and then I went to university for 3 years to do a completely different degree all around marketing, which is kind of still what I do now. And then I finished university. I sort of floated around for a little bit. I was quite unsure, so I decided actually to move back home. So I moved back to Ashby, and whilst there, I got a job in the daytime working at the colonics business. I then also got another job working in Holland and Barrett. So I was working there certain shifts, and I was also working another job for a bar and nightclub. So I was doing 3 jobs, and actually I realized that the colonics business was where I wanted to be. So I stopped the other 2 so I could start the training for everything there. About a year into it, the owners of the company decided they wanted to move to Spain to offer a similar service and wanted to know if I would go with them. I said yes, so I moved over to Spain. That was where I met my partner and where we started our adoption process for our son. But whilst there, the colonics again continued, but actually it was the allergy and intolerance side that really took off. So we decided to separate out. So I stepped away from the colonic side and continued on with the allergy and intolerance testing. So there was more websites, the customer service. So I literally have had a hand in nearly every single part of the business, going from when it was 2 people to, as I said, now we have a team of 20.
That is amazing, Cris. It's very interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, a lot of us will sort of look back at our past and think, well, I did this, I did this, I did this. But actually, it's interesting because what we've sort of done in the past kind of really informs what we're doing now. And, you know, so obviously all of your marketing expertise is really, I mean, it's obviously part and parcel of why you guys are so incredibly successful nowadays. I mean, it just is absolutely amazing. So, Layla, that was a wonderful question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janie. I just find it really interesting that, you know, obviously, you know, as a small business owner or a sole trader, that, you know, it is about hard graft and putting in the hours and the hard work. But also, I love the fact that it's also about luck and chance and about being in the right place at the right time and sort of making those connections with people who can help us. And then, you know, as we sort of travel on our journey, that we're also able to reach out and help others as well. So yeah, thank you for that, Cris. That was really, really insightful. Thank you.
No problem at all. As I said, you know, I definitely didn't set out to go to university to end up doing what I do now. And it was genuinely set up as a secondary source of income. And that's why we're here to, you know, today to offer this as an additional secondary source of income, because you can say, okay, yeah, literally tomorrow I want to start offering allergen intolerance testing to my clients. How do I do that? You know, you don't have the overhead, you don't have all of that. So yeah, it's just there for people if they want to jump on it.
Absolutely, it's fantastic, Cris. Absolutely wonderful. Any other questions at all? As I say, I think we should pick Chris's brains. Tony, have you got a question?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Cris. I really appreciate what you've done today. It's more perfect because you're marketing. A lot of the issues with somebody who's either a solopreneur or trying to get a business growth is where to market, especially through social media. A lot of people keep telling me go on it, but when it's so terrible as a complementary medicine, a lot of times the mainstream social media doesn't quite suit the niche of doing this. So where would you advise people who are in this kind of process, from what you've learned, where's the best place for them to market and how to do it?
Yeah, it can be very difficult nowadays because, I mean, when we started off, it was, you know, as long as you had a Facebook page, that was fine. Now, of course, you have to have pretty much everything. You have to have the Facebook, you have to have the Instagram, you have to have the Twitter, you have to have the LinkedIn, you have to have the Google. It can be very daunting, but there are some tools out there to help. One that we use quite regularly is we use a system called SmarterQ. SmarterQ, you can add all of your different social media channels to this system. That links into your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, all of those sorts of things. Not only can you future plan in your posts, which is great, you can also start to repeat posts. And the way that this one is different to a lot of the ones out there like HubSpot and all those things is it does allow that repeating. So you can say, I will build a channel now that will have so many different posts on there. And once those posts have gone out, it can start to repeat it again. So it means that I do have people that are constantly putting new things on there, but actually for just to let people know that we're still there and we're still as a regular business, that it just kind of does that work for you. There's also other systems out there that can collate all of your messages that you get from all of those different channels as well. So actually you can have a lot of different social media channels and you only need an hour or so to go through absolutely everything if you're getting a lot of messages and comments in. So I would say, use as many as you possibly can, but at the same time, use the tools that make them workable for you as a business.
That's good. I've never heard that one, so thank you for that, Cris.
No problem.
Yeah, no, that's really superb. Thank you ever so much, because you know, it's an issue that we have here at the CMA, because we're on all the various channels except for TikTok and so on, which isn't really our demographic really. But you know, automating that process, I cannot recommend it highly enough. We've been using Loomly, but I will definitely get the team to check out. What did you say it was, Cris? I didn't actually make a note of it when you were speaking.
Yeah, the one we use is SmarterQ, but believe me, in the history of the business, we've used all of the different ones. And for us, this is the one that works the best. It's quite new software. It's much cheaper than the other ones, but as I said, it gives that ability to create, well, as in the name, a smart queue, really. So yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. I can see Roberta writing away in the background. She's on it. She's on it already. Okay, fantastic. So before Alison had to go, she said, I just want to read you Alison's message. She says, I have to leave now, but thank you so much. This has been so interesting and valuable and brightened up my day, which is so lovely. We both thanked her. But yes, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Cris, is there anything else that you would like to mention or cover before we let you get on with your very, very busy day?
No, not at all. As I said, if anyone is interested, either drop me a message or visit healthystuff.com and just mention that you saw us through here. Again, this wasn't where I was planning to go with it, but also with Smarter Cube, if it is something you're interested in, I believe that we can give you a discount code, and that gives us a bit of a kickback. So if there is anyone that just decide to step in and use that one after having doing some research on it, again, drop us a message there. But I'm here, and if I'm not here, I've got a team of people that can make your life a bit easier with it. So yeah, no problem at all.
Brilliant. Okay, Cris. Well, so well, I know I'm going to be hitting you up for both of those. So, but yes, expect calls. But the thing is, Cris, I was just going to say to anybody watching, the best way of contacting you is obviously via the healthystuff.com website. And also what we'll do is we will put your contact details in the show notes underneath this video. So for anybody watching it afterwards on YouTube, they'll have all of your contact details there. So we can happily do that. And are you happy for people to email you directly, Cris? Is that good for you as well? Yeah,
100%. I'm always on email. My name's a bit confusing because it's Cris, but without the H. So it's CRIS and then @healthystuff.com. So yeah, it's quite a simple email to get me on.
It is. Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely fantastic, Cris. Well, look, I just want to say thank you very, very much indeed for being with us. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody who's here today. Roberta, as always, thank you so much for moderating, administrating, and doing all the wonderful things you do. And for anybody who saw the piece in this week's CMA newsletter about Roberta and her phased return to work and what she's been through over the last year, which has been just, I can't even begin to say, but the fact that this incredible lady has bounced back and she is back with us is the most miraculous miracle that I could ever possibly imagine. And Roberta, I'm so grateful to you for everything you do. So thank you so much. And I know that everybody on the call is absolutely delighted to have you with us. So yeah, I can see Tony clapping there. Brilliant. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Cris.
No, thank you, Janie, for this fantastic opportunity.
Absolutely wonderful. Take care. All the best. See you soon, everybody. Thank you.